Okay, moving along, we're now meeting with the treasurer's office and present as the supervisor is Terry Coates. Ray Coates, would you lead us in this? What's going on, please?
In the parade.
Sure.
Okay, we balanced to the penny, balanced like March 6th, which was scary.
Nice.
So, but we balanced to the penny. We did figure out that, we have to make sure that if the electronic check, which are checks that are issued by some of the schools, that hit our main banking accounts, so that would be the 19 or the 24 account, have not actually physically cleared the bank, we need to carry them on our sheet. And that brings you into balance. Well, there's other issues prior to this, but this is, so when we got down to this dollar amount, I knew that was 2 checks that the schools had done and that hadn't actually cleared the bank. And that's for data pay. These are for data payments. So, and that would be the same, like in the, if you remember, and sometimes the county itself, like in June, they back into the software data payments that won't hit the bank till July, and I carry them on the sheet because they actually physically haven't cleared. It's kind of the same balancing thing. They aren't physically clearing the bank, so we can't lower the cash in the bank. And the cash in the bank has not been lowered without that. So that's why you'll see that entry there. So all of your copies are sitting on the desk. I mean, unfortunately, I've been down for 8 days. So
Yeah, we missed you at the
Oh
elected
my God.
officials lunch
oh, I'm
a week ago.
so over being sick. I think my husband is too. He's not talking to me. I think he's going like this. Anyway, so I will get those emailed over to you. They're sitting on the counter kind of in stacks because I came in a little late and I was going to do that and I didn't finish them because we had our software rollover to motor vehicle with the state of Montana on Sunday. Fortunately for me, Christine and Chris both handled that and they did a great job. I mean, I was on the phone with them a few times, but they did a great job of it. And there was a few issues that we've got going on with printers not connecting. But as you may or may not, I know Craig doesn't know, but the state of Montana gifted us equipment that's 12 to 15 years old to use in our future.
Lucky us.
And 2 of them are printers, and those 2 printers will not connect now with this new software. So Levi's working on that because what we have to do is pretty much make them disappear off our system and then I don't know what they call it, re-image them to make them work in the county system. So he's working on that today and that should solve that. Otherwise, everybody's printing to one printer. It's kind of like a line at the printer. But so there was that issue. We got the 2 new mini computers that the state gave us that they are new, are set up on the counters and they seem to be working good. We've had a few little hiccups with cars, only that what you don't know is everybody in the office, including me, which 115 training modules. Some of them were 5 minutes and some of them were 20 minutes.
Whoa.
All that training is great, except for that you're not gonna remember everything on Monday morning
Right.
when it went live, because a couple of times they're like, so we're getting there. I think that I was not part of the Merlin conversion, but I did work for US Bank when that was happening, when Lewis and Clark County was one of my clients. And I remember that it was bad. So this is actually good compared to what I remember. So there's that. So it's good. Inventory does balance with them. We did balance our first day with them, seems to be okay. Our Merlin totals, I balanced those. On my laptop, they look perfect from when we closed off on March 12th. So I think that's good. We'll see what happens at the end of March when we have the cars to balance. So, so I think both of those, all those things went really well.
Is it nice having Chris there? Does she have a little more in-depth understanding of it?
She does. She does. Speaking of which, and I was going to ask you, I would like to create some type of payroll invoice for Chris from November 1st of last year to March, Friday, March 14th. I want to bill the state for at least those 5 months. If that makes sense. She's been working on this project for 15 months, but she's been so focused this last 5 months. I really, even though I believe it's a win, I believe the state should pay, all things considered.
You know, she's doing the work for sure.
Yeah, so, so I'll work with Ginger on that. They did send out an interlocal agreement that came on Friday. I've read it. I've instructed all the other treasurers to make sure their county attorneys and commissioners read it. I don't want to sign it. Because right inside the body of it, it says we're responsible for toner, paper, right in the middle of it. Even though I know they testified in a budget hearing, they were gonna give us at minimum 10 cents a transaction, to which I don't think that's enough either, but I had 10 county offices analyze their costs. So I took a large county all the way down to a small county. The small county is close to the 15 to 20 cent range a transaction. We're at 25 to 30. Missoula's at 75 cents.
Wow.
Now, remember, the number of transactions is gonna change their dynamic of how much paper they have to buy and how much toner. So when I say to the head of VSB, I think you should be closer to 25 cents. I'm still shortcutting Missoula. But I
Did
don't
you
know.
figure out if we could add our own little fee on there for convenience?
That's what that local option thing was about, which I don't think passed, did it?
I haven't seen,
I
I doubt it's gonna
don't think
pass.
so.
doubt
I
it.
think even if it got on the Mr. Governor's desk, he's gonna veto it, so,
But we've got private companies out there doing what you do and they're adding.
right,
$20.
$35 a transaction
That's a pretty good transaction fee.
in BD Express, and they're doing not a good job. The state of Montana is having trouble with them.
I don't know why the state should, I mean, I think people that are registering wouldn't mind giving the county a couple bucks or whatever per transaction to be, for the convenience they get.
Well, the thing is it is a convenience, and I know that, I don't know how long the history is of the counties doing the state's work. I don't know what that looks like. I know for me, it's 12 years, but I know we've lived in this state for 25 years, so it's at least 25 years.
Probably forever.
And yeah, I would say it's probably forever. And the counties have always absorbed all the employee costs and the building costs, right? You know, normally you'd pay rent somewhere, right? We paid that cost and our telephones and all those benefits. So I think it's always been heavier on the county side, the costs. And then Mr. Knudsen was quoted as saying that we've always been given a blank check. Well, I don't call a blank check when I'm paying all employees benefits. But that's not a blank check. I mean, off the top of my head, I would say just my payroll for just those 3 people that are just doing motor vehicles with benefits is probably close to 300,000, right? 250,000.
The total payroll for your office is like 430,
Right, so if I just had 3 of them,
it'd be minus like.
yeah.
To the first
So,
one,
I mean, that's
300.
not a blank check. It's a lot of money.
The state
Plus
doesn't reimburse any of that?
No, we don't get any of that. And I don't pay rent per se on my building
So what's Knudsen talking about, a blank check? Is it state
because,
giving us something?
because there used to be a window, so to speak, on the Merlin system that says we need to order 10 boxes of paper.
Oh,
And it would go up to the state and the state would stamp it and it would be approved.
gotcha.
So there was no tracking of that inventory, so to speak. It was just ordered. But I don't believe for one moment, and I would fight to the death to believe this, that no county in this state took advantage of the state of Montana and said, hey, let's get 100 boxes of paper in here and get ahead of the game. In fact, when I arrived in this county, all the paper that was state paper was in the one spot and all of county paper was over here. So if you're using that printer, you use that state printer, state paper.
Mhm.
You never mixed them.
Yeah.
Ever. So I'm sure that's how the other counties handled it too. You just never mixed them. Even though you know darn well that some transactions were being printed on
Right.
county paper
Yeah.
because we didn't use all the state printers for that. But anyway, so that's kind of the fight. There's a budget hearing coming up and I'm gonna send all my documents to the House Bill 2 people. I don't know that it's gonna make a difference.
How many counties are doing DMV? All of them or
Yep. all of
every
them.
single one?
But I'll tell you right now, there's one county in particular, who all of you know those commissioners, they're willing to tell the state to take their,
Well, that'd be
motor
a good
vehicle out.
thought. I mean, to tell everybody in the state, say, we're done. That just puts our employees at risk, right?
well, I don't know. Yes, I agree. I don't want to lay anybody off. You're absolutely right. But if the state's gonna have to open up offices, maybe those employees would get hired.
Maybe.
I don't know, but that's a whole process that,
Then the state will figure out what the open check or the, yeah.
talk about a blank check, you know how
Blank check.
expensive this would be? At $250,000 just for 3 employees. At our rate, I think they might start at $1 higher.
Think they could throw us a bone on something.
Anyway, so there's the fight. The fight's still going on. I do believe that eminent domain bill passed out of the House and it's going to the Senate. I don't know if you know who John Fitzgerald is. Is it Fitzgerald? Yes. Representative Fitzgerald. He was very, I'm gonna use the term cute. At the end of it, he said, wow, I have never been testifying on a bill where DEQ is actually on my side.
Something different for him, huh?
Yeah, he was very cute, but apparently he used to be at Pegasus
Oh, did he?
and he ran that mine.
Oh,
So he's very much adamant about getting it passed along with Miss Portoville. They
Good.
were together on it. So I do think there's no reason for it not to pass. Whether or not it'll help us, I don't know. See. Okay, and let's see what else is going on. Provided that I can get myself to not fall asleep somewhere and take more drugs. I will be gone next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Monday. I'll be in Washington DC. Helping my niece Mary.
nice. Washington DC?
She lives in Virginia, which is right outside the
Can you
city.
go up and see what Trump's up to while you're there?
Well, Mr. Sheehy is giving me a private tour of the US Capitol next Friday.
Nice.
Well, his assistant, I doubt he'll come in. But anyway,
Never know.
never know. But she's I'll show you pictures sometime of her car wreck. It was bad. So she just needs a little help. And I said, we're gonna take a day or two in the city and she's great with that. So anyway, that's so I will be gone those 4 days and then taxes, mobile home taxes will probably be delayed because there's a bill that's supposed to be on the governor's desk in the next 2 weeks that will change the tax rate on second homes and whatever. So they have to rerun the mobile homes to see how that tax rate applies because they want it to be effective ASAP. So my suggestion to them is that we have the tax bill information no later than mid-May so we can still bill in this fiscal year. And DOR agreed. So it'll just be late, but we'll get at least most of that collection before the end of this fiscal year. Otherwise, they wanted to push it into July. I'm like, we're not doing it. So
Your second mobile home tax is gonna go up.
if you have a little mobile home somewhere that you're renting, somebody, it's gonna go up.
Not if you're renting it.
No, if you are renting it, because it's a second home.
Yeah, but I thought if it's a long-term rental, they weren't gonna raise the
Oh,
taxes.
yeah, maybe not on a long-term rental, but
If you're using it for an Airbnb or a short-term rental or.
personally, I don't think we're gonna be affected by this much on the mobile home side. We have 348 mobile homes. At least 40% 40 people don't pay their taxes, so now you're down to 300. And it's gonna affect the trailer parks we have one trailer park here in Boulder where she owns those trailers. It'll affect her, I'm sure,
Long-term rentals.
unless they're a long term. So. But that's,
When do we need to have a decision to you about raising solid waste taxes or fees, not taxes.
If you're gonna do it, if you want it for this next tax year, 25, I'd really like to see those by no later than August 1st.
Okay.
And I say that, I can even push it back.
Did you hear something about July from Mike?
Yeah, that's.
Well, I told him July because I love Mike. He's
I did.
actually really good. He's very organized. He's very, but I know there has to be some public meetings. I told him originally July, thinking that those public meetings could get started, but it's already April, so I don't
And
know.
he's gone part of next month, so.
He's going to Mexico. I feel sorry
some
for him.
people-
So if we had it by, if worst case scenario, when you guys approve those levies by August 15th, that would be good, but we have to go in and change that whole system, change all those rates, so we do need a little time to do that.
Okay.
I would say we need at least 45 days to do that.
Is that do you know if that's if we do that by resolution or?
Yes.
It is, okay. All right.
And then I will send the resolution to the Department of Revenue, along with a spreadsheet of all of our taxpayers. And that they'll download into their side, and then they'll do whatever adjustments on those sides,
Perfect.
so.
We're working on getting meetings set up so we can bounce around the county.
He's been really good about finding them and investigating them, so we've been adding, so our files should be pretty close to,
Getting accurate.
or
Yeah.
pretty close to accurate.
Yeah. No, he's doing.
There's a handful of people that are coming forward that, they live on the back house of Joe Smith's place, and nobody ever knew they were there, but
Right.
that are asking for solid waste permits that he's getting now.
Yep.
So, I'm sure it's making landlords crazy, but,
And as soon as we started enforcing those permits, everything kind of came to light. Who's paying and who's not paying.
well, that particular trailer park over there, she called, she's in Mexico apparently for the winter, and she said, I'm looking on this and I have like 16 solid waste, and I said, well, that's correct, you own 16
Units.
units over there. Some of them are man camps, 2 or 3 families in one. So you're gonna charge one for each family. That's the way it is. I thought she was not happy, but it is the way it is. She's never been charged that before, and that's,
Gotta pay for what you use. What the heck?
well, all of those people want permits.
Right? No, absolutely.
And then there's a confusion about Julio's trash can versus the solid waste site.
Yeah.
They're not the same. We've
That's
had
an
this-
extra, that's a convenience.
That's a convenience, so you don't have to load it in your own truck.
Right.
Load it in his truck. That's, and then we have to pay him to haul it over there, so. We've spent a lot of time explaining that, and so has Mike, I know he has, so. I don't think we really have a choice, but at least now we know that our tax base is pretty close.
Yeah.
Cause he's on it all the time, him and Shaylee, on it all the time. So yeah, that would be great. That would be great. I knew there was something else and I should start making a list, but I think that's it, unless all of you have a question or not.
When you get new windows.
He had a third person come through, was it the week before last? He's hoping that they'll be here like June.
That would be
July.
nice, huh?
You guys don't have any time. Go sit at Maggie's desk.
We're sucking that radon out at the right time. Huh? You have windows. that-
Yeah, and they just put a new measure thing in there because they want to make sure that whatever they did, whether it works. And I said, okay,
Yeah, the radon would have got stronger if you put new windows in there and didn't have any
Trapped
good airflow through.
okay,
No
sure.
leakage.
It's funny, you guys said I had the option, and I'd rather err on the side of caution than just not do it. And you're right, those new windows will make a huge difference just on our air and heating bill.
Didn't get the girls to agree on a temperature.
Maggie's the queen over there. I don't even get in the
I
middle.
don't
My side
envy
has a
that.
different thermostat.
Don't envy you there.
My windows leak a lot, so I always have the heater on. So, and I'm not a person who's generally cold, so anyway. Okay. Other than anything else, I think we're good. Paulette's getting ready to retire. She's again I don't know if she actually will, but. See,
That's it, huh?
that's it.
Revenue doesn't want back in the building and they still hurt.
They still would like to back in the limit, they don't bring it up anymore, so
Yeah.
it's fine,
Good. They kind of got used to what they're doing.
whatever. Not my monkey. I did what I could and then I'm out.
Thank you, Terry.
Okay, did you have any questions?
And at some point, before you leave, talk about fifth grade,
Oh, right.
so we had a R&D, if you guys remember, a couple years ago, they did a chip seal that they couldn't afford. So they went in the hole. And at that time, I didn't know the difference between RMD and RSID. And so Terry, Bonnie, Ladena, and I all sat down and they gave me a crash course on it. So I started looking at it, and from the beginning, the RMD funds were going to the RSID and the RSID funds were going to the RMD. So not only couldn't they not afford the chip seal, they were even further in the hole than we thought they were. So I did a transfer on that, and then Terry swapped, the stuff in the system, but then it didn't get added on the bills last year for 2023 taxes. So you rebilled last year.
Mm-hmm.
So she rebilled last year because we did the review and increased
Yeah,
their
okay.
fees. And then, but it still wasn't getting posted to the right account, like it didn't stick in the system, so they came in at the end of January this year and said, this still doesn't look right, and sure enough, it doesn't, so. We've just been going through to see where they're at, and, I had a big sit down with them last Friday, I think it was Friday. Maybe it
Yeah,
was
last
Wednesday.
Friday.
I sat down with them for a couple hours and I went through every single number that's ever hit their accounts and got $10,000 out of them. So they paid $10,000 back to the county last Thursday, but Terry and I still have to figure out what needs to be transferred between what, but I think from sitting down with them and talking to them, they're feeling a lot more comfortable, but at some point they reach out to you to complain about. I don't think they will complain because like I said, I spent hours with them going over every single number from the beginning of time with their stuff, but and they felt comfortable enough to give me $10,000, so.
So part of that is that the system didn't catch the 24 taxes, didn't catch the change that I had made, so it got billed wrong again. So, I mean, Ginger spent hours, but I feel like I've spent hours just trying to figure out what got what to whom. So I have it changed for the second half of this year, and I rebuild those 25 people. And I have it marked on the calendar for September 15th. Somebody else besides Ginger and myself needs to look to see how the disbursement looks. Just as a second audit to make sure that everything that we've done. I know it'd be easier for us to do it, but the thing is we've looked at it so much, we might miss it. So it'd be better if, and I'll get those other set of eyes to do that. So
it was a two-part thing. It wasn't just that they were swap between the RSID going to the RMD and the RMD. We also increased the fees to the RMD.
Right.
In the middle of it, and so. Yeah, it's just,
yeah, it's been.
I don't know, it's just a cursed thing. I mean, it started in 2017 and it's been wrong ever since.
It's cursed. That's a good word.
We thought we fixed it in 22, but we didn't.
So I apologize for that, and I apologize to all of them for that, because I guess my same eyes looked at it and it looked right to me. And maybe if somebody who is outside that box looked at it, they would have said, question something, but anyway, I can't look at my own work. I have to make sure somebody else looks at it. So,
But the good news is that they should have their bond paid off next year. And at one point when we were going through that review process with them 2 years ago, they made a comment about, let's just put it back to a gravel road and not do this anymore, because they're paying R&D, RSID, and HOA fees too. That's where the 10,000 came from, was out of their HOA. So the reason they came in January was like, we can't get ahead with this because we can't sell our houses because nobody's gonna buy into paying into all this stuff. And so one of the things they talked about is, Runkle, I guess, uses their road, driving heavy equipment on it and stuff, but he's in Lewis and Clark County, so he doesn't pay into the district.
Oh,
So they were, yeah, so they were gonna approach him and just say, hey, can you help us out, you know, like your trucks are tearing up our road. And now we have this loan to pay back to get the, so it may come up, if they, I don't know if they'll get anywhere with them. But if they pay off their loan to the county, which is at $33,000 now, and then they'll be paying off their bond soon. They may be one of the ones that comes through for review to lower their assessment. I mean, they'll still have a pretty high assessment because it's gonna cost a lot to do chip seal. And they have to have that RMD until the bond is paid off, but if they wanna just let it go or whatever the deal is, if they have everything all paid off, it would be amazing if they just.
So speaking of RMDs, and I'm not trying to be pushy, but we need to push the planning department. We have several RMDs who have added people into their places, not collecting any money.
She's working
Those
on it.
roads, yeah, they gotta get done this year.
Problem is she gets them all done, then the attorney stalls on them and then you're
Well,
stuck, so.
you tell her to call me, because I will push Mr. Attorney, because
I told her to say.
I get the same calls every September.
Mhm.
What about Joe Smith, Joe Doe,
Yeah,
you know, they've been living in our area for 3 years and they haven't paid a dime.
Yeah.
So
that's a
it's
goal.
not
I tried to
fair,
rip through a bunch of those.
especially in the Destiny Hills
Mhm.
is definitely one of the biggest ones that has affected. You know, that they're paying $600 a year, those families, and they probably have at least 5 new houses up in there that aren't paying anything.
Using the roads, yeah.
They're using those roads and they could use that money to
Yep.
get those roads cleaned up. And I'm not trying to complain about anything. I just know
Yeah.
that those folks call, Moonlight calls. I mean, so it's,
Yeah, it's a bunch of them.
we hear about it. So just pick a few, get them reviewed, and then let's
Yeah.
keep going.
Yep.
That was our promise 3 years ago, and we haven't done anything since, so. That's why I kind of worry
agree.
about it. That was on my list of things to talk to you about, so good. Thank you for bringing that up.
Well, part of that too is that we're not collecting the admin fee on those RMDs.
Right.
Which, when we're talking about budgets and paying, those
That
admin
helps.
fees can go towards planning department salaries.
Right.
Correct?
Yep.
And
Correct.
there's, I don't know how many RMDs there are, but I think we're allowed like 500 a year from each RMD,
Yeah, that helps.
which could add up.
Right, it could. So thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Ladies,
Thank you.
I will email this to you.
Hope
Or at
you're
least
feeling
a pay
better.
grade class for the review.
Right, yeah, some of those costs